This is a project I built to overcome the gap that current tools have for interfacing with the Ensoniq EPS16 Plus synth. I felt like most of the tools that I could find were really outdated, would only run on like Windows, and I couldn't find anything that would run on an M1 Mac. So at a high level, what this tool allows you to do is transfer samples to the Ensoniq, and it allows you to pull samples from the Ensoniq and save them to your desktop. In addition, I've built a set of macros that allows you to upload multiple samples at once, all adding them to different instrument tracks. It also has two other features that will, one, combine all of your waveforms into one single transwave, or create morphing waveforms. So first, to get set up, you need to select the correct MIDI input and output that your Ensoniq is connected to. And once you do this, this is actually saved in the browser, so when you come back here, it'll be available, so you don't have to set it every time. The tool has a set of utility functions that allow you to create instruments, create layers, and create the default square wave sample. Once you create it, you can then download it and view the square wave. The tool also has the ability to drag and drop waveforms, so we can just drag this here and view it, and then upload it to the Ensoniq. Depending on the size of the wave sample, it can take some time. But then once it's uploaded, you can then download it and verify that what's in the synth is what you expected. You can also save that to a WAV file on your desktop. Now we're going to move on to some of the more interesting aspects of the tool. The first is the ability to just drag and drop multiple waveforms, and the tool will automatically provision them into the correct instruments on the synth. So in this case, we're just going to have kicks, snares, and your other drum samples. And what will happen is it will upload each one of these, creating the instruments and layers for each one. Depending on the size of the samples and the number of samples, this can take some time, so be patient. This set will actually take about 3 minutes to upload everything into the synth, so I'm just going to fast forward this section until it's complete. Now that it's complete, we can go into each one of these instruments and notice that the tool has set the proper loop endpoints for each one of these. It's also done a few other configurations that you can change later on. Like it sets the loop mode to loop forward for each one of these samples. You may want loop bidirectional, but you'd have to change it on each sample after it's uploaded. One of the more interesting aspects of the Ensoniq samplers is their ability to use transwave synthesis. Building transwaves on your own can be very time-consuming, but this tool takes all the guesswork out of it and makes it really easy. All you need to do is drag as many waveforms as you would like into the tool, and it will automatically combine them together into one transwave. Once the transwave is built, it will upload it to the synth and then automatically set the right loop points so that the mod wheel will transition between each one of the wave samples seamlessly. It's important to note that each of the samples should be the same length for this to work effectively. The tool will use the very first sample in the list to set the correct loop points for the rest of the transwave. Now I can play this waveform back and use the mod wheel to control the transwave modulation. So let's hear how that sounds. Transwaves create a really interesting effect, especially when combined with reverbs and delays. But sometimes we might just want to morph one waveform into another. This brings us to the last feature of the tool. What this feature does is it takes each one of these waveforms, creates an instrument, and adds each waveform to a different layer. It then sets crossfade breakpoints for each layer, controlled by an LFO, that will make each one fade in and out seamlessly, so it appears that they are morphing one after the other. Now that this has been uploaded into the synth, let's hear how it sounds. Thanks for watching, and if you find this tool useful, please contribute to my Patreon. Thanks.